Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me today on this exciting journey into one of the most fascinating and unusual stories in the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, where ordinary pieces of currency can suddenly become astronomical treasures worth millions due to mistakes, errors, and sheer rarity. Today, we are diving deep into the astonishing tale of a 2007 1-cent coin that has captivated collectors and investors alike, a coin whose face value is a mere penny. Yet due to its extraordinary circumstances, it has been reported to be valued at an eye-watering $18 million, and as we explore this story, I invite you to imagine with me the incredible combination of human error, production quirks, and the unpredictable allure of scarcity that has transformed something as mundane as a penny into a coveted item that can command such a jaw-dropping price. A coin that is a testament to the fact that mistakes in the minting process are not just errors but potentially life-changing events for those who are fortunate enough to possess them. And to truly understand why this particular 2007 penny has achieved this legendary status, we need to examine the nature of its errors and mistakes, starting with the most obvious and visually striking anomalies that are present on the coin. First, the coin is said to display a severe off-center strike, a phenomenon that occurs when the coin blank, also known as a planchet, is not properly aligned within the coin press, resulting in a portion of the design being missing and leaving an unusual blank space that collectors immediately recognize as a significant minting error. And in the case of the 2007 1-cent coin, this off-center strike is extreme enough that it alters the appearance of the coin dramatically, making it immediately distinguishable from standard pennies and creating an aura of uniqueness that collectors find irresistible. But the story does not end there, because beyond the off-center strike, there are additional errors that add to its rarity and value, including double dies, where the coin appears to have been stamped twice with a slight misalignment between the impressions, giving certain features, such as Lincoln's profile or the lettering, a ghostly doubled effect that is incredibly difficult to find and highly prized among enthusiasts. The combination of the off-center strike and double die error alone makes the coin a spectacular example of minting mishaps. But to truly grasp the magnitude of this penny's worth, we must also consider the concept of die cracks and planchet flaws, which are often subtle imperfections that occur when the metal dies used to strike the coin develop cracks or when the metal blanks themselves have impurities or inconsistencies. And in the case of the 2007 1-cent coin, these flaws manifest in ways that are remarkably distinctive, with tiny fissures running through the coin's surface, unusual textures that are not found on ordinary pennies, and slight distortions in the edge that signal to trained eyes that this coin is not just a product of chance but an exceptional specimen with a story embedded in its very metal. Now, one might wonder how such a coin could ever reach a value of $18 million, and the answer lies not only in its physical characteristics but also in the dynamics of the coin collecting market, where rarity, provenance, and the fascination with errors converge to create astronomical valuations. Collectors and investors understand that coins like this 2007 penny represent an almost impossible to replicate moment in history, a perfect storm of human and mechanical imperfection that produces an item of extraordinary scarcity. And when you consider that only a handful of these error coins are known to exist, the rarity factor alone drives prices to heights that seem completely disconnected from their face value, which in the case of a 1-cent coin is, of course, trivial. Yet in the context of numismatics, this triviality becomes irrelevant, and what collectors see is a tangible piece of history that carries with it the excitement of discovery, the thrill of owning something few others can possess, and the potential for immense financial gain should the coin ever go up for auction. But it is not only the combination of technical errors that makes this penny so valuable. It is also the story behind it, the journey from a routine minting process in 2007 to the realization that this coin is a one-in-a-million anomaly, a realization that often begins when a collector or numismatist notices an oddity in circulation, perhaps a misplaced date, a smudged detail, or an unusual shape, and upon closer inspection, the observer uncovers multiple layers of minting defects that elevate the coin from curiosity to treasure. Consider the possibilities that arise from owning such a coin. It can become the centerpiece of a rare coin collection, a conversation starter, a teaching tool for demonstrating minting processes and errors, and, perhaps most enticingly for some, a speculative investment that, due to its uniqueness, might appreciate in value over time far beyond any conventional asset. Furthermore, this 2007 1-cent coin illustrates a broader principle that drives much of the collectibles market. Namely that value is not always tied to intrinsic material or face value but often to rarity, demand, and the human fascination with anomalies, a principle that applies not only to coins but to stamps, trading cards, antiques, and even digital collectibles, yet the penny stands out because it is such a ubiquitous object, a coin that everyone has handled, spent, and often ignored, and when one of these everyday items is transformed by accident into a piece worth millions, it captures the imagination in a way that few other collectibles can, prompting enthusiasts to scour change jars, flea markets, and online auctions in search of similar hidden gems. And as we imagine the 2007 1-cent coin in its physical form, we can almost feel the texture of the metal, see the uneven strike, trace the tiny die cracks and the doubled features, and appreciate the incredible serendipity that allowed this coin to survive in circulation long enough to be recognized, documented, and ultimately valued at a staggering price. And yet the story remains partly speculative because valuations like $18 million are driven by interest, market sentiment, and the willingness of buyers to pay such sums, meaning that the actual sale price could fluctuate based on trends, publicity, and collector enthusiasm, highlighting the fascinating intersection between tangible physical errors and the intangible forces of human desire and perception. We can also explore the technical origins of these errors to better appreciate their significance. The off-center strike happens when the planchet is not properly seated in the coin press, a mechanical oversight that may result from worn equipment, operator error, or a rare misfeed, and this misalignment can range from slight to extreme, with the most severe cases, like this penny, creating a strikingly uneven coin that draws immediate attention. Double dies result from misalignment during the hubbing process, where a master die impresses the coin design onto working dies, and if the die shifts slightly between impressions, a double image occurs, often subtly on normal coins but dramatically on error specimens, die cracks, planchet flaws, and even missing elements such as parts of letters or numerals add additional layers of rarity, each contributing to the perception that the coin is a unique artifact of minting history, and when combined in a single specimen, as with the 2007 penny, these errors multiply in significance rather than simply adding linearly, creating a coin that is far more than the sum of its defects. It becomes a narrative, a story told through metal and design, a physical manifestation of chance, oversight, and mechanical imperfection, and collectors and experts recognize that such coins often represent the pinnacle of error collecting, where a single item can simultaneously demonstrate multiple error types while remaining in remarkable condition, a convergence that is exceedingly rare and therefore commands extraordinary attention and value. Beyond the purely technical aspects, we must consider the psychological and economic forces at play. Human fascination with mistakes is long-standing, and in the context of collectibles, errors are celebrated, cherished, and often mythologized, giving rise to tales of coins that defy their mundane origins to become icons of fortune and obsession. And when a coin like the 2007 1-cent penny surfaces, stories quickly circulate in collector circles and on social media, driving curiosity and, ultimately, bids to levels that defy conventional logic, because the coin embodies not just a mistake but the possibility of discovery, the thrill of owning something unparalleled, and the hope that this humble penny can yield unimaginable returns. The implications are also philosophical. A 1-cent coin worth $18 million challenges our notions of value, prompting reflection on how we assign importance to objects, how rarity transforms perception, and how human error, often considered negative, can paradoxically create incredible opportunities for those who notice and act upon them. The coin becomes a lens through which we can explore risk, reward, luck, and the interplay between ordinary life and extraordinary outcomes. It also opens a discussion about the minting process itself and the layers of quality control designed to prevent errors, from highly trained operators to precise machinery and inspection protocols. Next, 1996 1-cent coin. Today on this fascinating journey into the world of coins, a realm where ordinary currency can suddenly transform into extraordinary treasures, where mistakes and errors that might appear insignificant to the casual observer become sources of immense value. And today we are going to explore the astonishing story of the 1996 1-cent coin. A coin whose face value is merely 1 cent but which, due to its unique combination of minting errors and mistakes, has been reported to be worth as much as $12 million, a figure that seems almost unbelievable for a coin so common yet is fully justified when we consider the rarity, historical significance, and peculiarities that make this coin one of the most sought-after items among collectors, investors, and numismatic enthusiasts alike. And to understand why this penny has become such a legendary piece, we need to delve into the specific errors and mistakes that define it, beginning with one of the most visually striking anomalies, the double die, an error that occurs during the die creation process when the master die and working dies fail to align perfectly, resulting in duplicated images or lettering that appear slightly offset, often creating a ghost-like effect that is highly prized in the coin collecting world. And on the 1996 D penny, this doubling can frequently be observed around the date, the D mint mark, and even portions of Lincoln's portrait, giving the coin an immediately recognizable and highly collectible appearance. But the story does not end there, because this penny is also known to exhibit off-center strikes, which occur when the coin blank, or planchet, is misaligned in the coin press during striking, causing portions of the design to be missing or unevenly distributed, and in extreme cases, such as with this 1996 D penny, the off-center strike can be dramatic, displacing Lincoln's profile and the lettering in ways that make the coin appear almost surreal, creating a visual rarity that collectors find irresistible and which significantly amplifies its value. Further adding to its uniqueness are planchet errors, which are imperfections in the metal blank itself, including laminations, cracks, or inclusions of foreign materials that result in surface anomalies, odd textures, and sometimes partial missing sections, all of which contribute to the coin's status as a one-of-a-kind item. And when we consider the combination of these factors, the double die, the off-center strike, the planchet flaws, and additional anomalies such as die cracks or cuds, which occur when portions of the die break or chip away during the striking process, leaving raised irregular lumps of metal on the coin, we begin to see how a seemingly ordinary penny can transform into an object of extraordinary value. And what makes the 1996 D penny even more remarkable is the rarity with which such combinations occur, as only a handful of coins from that year and mint carry multiple severe errors, making it nearly impossible for collectors to find another example. And in the world of numismatics, rarity is one of the primary drivers of value, often far outweighing the face value of the coin, particularly when the errors are dramatic and well documented. And collectors understand that acquiring such a coin is not only a matter of possession but also a unique opportunity to own a piece of history, a tangible artifact that encapsulates a rare moment in the production process. The story of human and mechanical error, and the unpredictable nature of chance. And while some might wonder how a 1-cent coin could possibly reach a value of $12 million, the answer lies not only in its physical characteristics but also in the economics of collecting, where scarcity, demand, provenance, and the excitement surrounding dramatic errors converge to create staggering valuations. The coin becomes more than metal, it becomes a symbol of uniqueness, a collectible that embodies the thrill of discovery, the joy of owning something that few, if any, others can claim, and the potential for immense financial appreciation. And it is important to note that the market value of such coins is influenced by a combination of factors, including the severity and visibility of the errors, the coin's condition or grade, the interest from collectors and investors, and the story or narrative that accompanies the coin, because in numismatics, as in other areas of collecting, the story behind an item often adds as much value as the item itself. And the 1996 D penny is a perfect example of this principle, as it represents a convergence of multiple minting anomalies, a historical moment in U.S. coin production, and an object whose rarity and condition create a near-mythical appeal. The technical origins of these errors are fascinating in themselves, as the double die occurs when the hubbing process misaligns, stamping the design twice onto the working die with a slight offset. The off-center strike is the result of mechanical misfeeds or misalignment of the planchet in the press. Planchet flaws come from imperfections in the metal blank during preparation, and die cracks or cuds are the consequence of stress or damage to the dies over time. And when these factors converge in a single specimen, as with the 1996 D penny, the coin is transformed from a mundane circulation piece into an object of exceptional intrigue and value. The possibilities for such a coin are extensive and compelling, as it can become the centerpiece of a rare coin collection, a major investment with potential for continued appreciation, a tangible teaching tool for illustrating minting errors, or simply a conversation starter that embodies the thrill and unpredictability of coin collecting, the psychological allure of owning such a rare and dramatic coin cannot be overstated, as collectors are drawn not only to the potential financial gain but also to the sense of achievement, the intellectual satisfaction of recognizing an extraordinary specimen, and the emotional connection to an object that embodies the intersection of human error and mechanical processes. And as we imagine holding the 1996 D penny in our hands, tracing the ghostly doubled images, feeling the uneven surfaces from die cracks or cuts, observing the displacement from an off-center strike, and noting the subtle imperfections in the planchet, we begin to understand why this coin captivates enthusiasts around the world, why stories about it circulate widely in collector circles, and why its valuation can reach $12 million, a figure that seems almost impossible but is grounded in the unique combination of rarity, error severity, market demand, and historical significance. Furthermore, this coin demonstrates the fascinating phenomenon that in the world of collectibles, mistakes and imperfections often elevate an object's value rather than diminish it, turning what might be considered a flaw in one context into a treasured feature in another, and the 1996 D penny exemplifies this principle perfectly, as its dramatic errors transform it from a simple, everyday object into a legendary item whose very existence inspires awe and curiosity. Considering the numismatic and historical context, the 1996 D penny emerges from a period in U.S. minting history where the production volume was high, and yet this coin managed to slip through quality control with multiple significant errors, underscoring how rare such events are and how exceptional this particular penny is. The interplay of mechanical imperfection, human oversight, and sheer luck culminates in a coin that is both a technical marvel and a collector's dream, and in addition to its physical characteristics, the 1996 D penny's value is also amplified by the speculative nature of the coin market, where collectors and investors are willing to pay extraordinary sums for unique, rare, and dramatic examples. Understanding that the combination of rarity, condition, and historical narrative can produce prices that far exceed any reasonable expectation based on face value alone, and the possibilities for this penny extend beyond its monetary value, as it serves as a tangible teaching tool for understanding the minting process, a historical artifact that documents a moment of anomaly in production, and a symbol of the unpredictable ways in which errors can create opportunity and value. The coin also illustrates broader principles about human perception and value assignment, showing how scarcity, uniqueness, and narrative can transform ordinary objects into coveted treasures. And as we reflect on the 1996 D 1-cent coin, tracing its errors, appreciating its rarity, and imagining the journey it has taken from the mint to collectors' hands, we recognize that it embodies the intersection of chance, craft, and human fascination, a coin that transforms mistakes into legend, flaws into value, and a simple penny into a multi-million-dollar marvel, ultimately proving that in the world of numismatics, errors are not merely defects to be corrected but potential gateways to extraordinary worth, and the 1996 D penny exemplifies this principle in its most dramatic form, a coin whose doubled dies, off-center strikes, planchet flaws, die cracks, and cuts converge to create an object of exceptional rarity and value, captivating the imagination of collectors, investors, and enthusiasts around the globe, and demonstrating that even the most mundane everyday object can, under the right circumstances of error and scarcity, ascend to legendary status, a tangible reminder that in both coins and life. Next, 1987 D 1 cent. Today we are diving into the incredible story of the 1987 D 1 cent coin, a coin whose face value is just 1 cent but which, due to its rare and unusual minting errors, has been reported to fetch prices as high as $10 million, a figure that seems almost surreal for a coin so common in circulation yet is justified by the combination of its rarity, the severity of its mistakes, and the historical fascination it generates among collectors, enthusiasts, and investors. And to fully appreciate why this particular penny has become such a legendary item, we must explore the nature of the errors and mistakes that define it, beginning with perhaps the most visually striking feature, the double die, a phenomenon that occurs when the die used to strike the coin is itself imprinted incorrectly, resulting in duplicated images or text that appear slightly offset. giving the coin a ghostly or shadowed effect that is highly prized in the numismatic community. And in the 1987 D 1-cent coin, this doubling can often be seen in the date and lettering, particularly around the D mint mark, creating an immediately recognizable anomaly that sets it apart from standard pennies. But this is only the beginning, because the 1987 D penny also exhibits what is known as a cut error, where a portion of the die breaks or chips off, leaving an irregular raised lump of metal on the coin, which not only makes the coin visually distinctive but also significantly increases its desirability among collectors, as cuds are one of the more dramatic and rare forms of die errors, and when combined with other anomalies such as off-center strikes, where the coin blank is misaligned within the press and results in an incomplete or asymmetrical impression, the coin becomes an extraordinary example of minting imperfection. And the 1987 D penny is known to exist in specimens where the off-center strike is substantial, sometimes displacing Lincoln's profile and the lettering in ways that are immediately noticeable and highly collectible, adding to the rarity and value of the coin. Furthermore, planchet errors, which occur when the metal blank has imperfections such as laminations, cracks, or impurities, can be present on the 1987 D penny, further enhancing its uniqueness, as collectors are drawn not only to the visual oddities but also to the story each coin tells about the minting process, the machinery, and the human elements involved. And when we consider the combination of these factors, double die, cut errors, off-center strikes, planchet flaws, and even subtle variations in strike pressure that can alter the depth and clarity of design elements, we begin to understand why this penny, which would normally be considered mundane and practically worthless, has achieved such astronomical valuation. A valuation that is also influenced by the principles of rarity and scarcity, as only a handful of these 1987 D-era coins are known to exist, making them extremely difficult to acquire. And in the world of numismatics, the scarcity of a coin often outweighs its face value by orders of magnitude, particularly when the errors are dramatic and well documented, and collectors are willing to pay extraordinary sums to obtain such a coin, knowing that it is nearly impossible to find another like it. The story of the 1987 D 1-cent coin also highlights the unpredictability and human fascination with mistakes, because what might initially be considered a flaw or a manufacturing defect transforms into a highly desirable feature, as enthusiasts recognize that the imperfections are precisely what make the coin special and historically significant, and the process by which these errors occur is both mechanical and accidental, beginning with the die itself, which may become misaligned, cracked, or damaged during hubbing, resulting in double dies or cuds, then moving to the planchet, which may have metal inconsistencies or be improperly prepared. And finally the striking process, where off-center strikes and variations in strike force create additional anomalies, and in the case of the 1987 D penny, all of these factors converge to produce a coin that is not just rare but visually and historically compelling, inspiring collectors to seek it out in circulated coins, rolls, and even small change. And as we examine the potential value of this coin, it is important to note that the reported $10 million figure is influenced not only by the physical errors themselves but also by market dynamics, provenance, collector enthusiasm, and the narrative surrounding the coin, because value in the collectibles market is a complex interplay between objective rarity and subjective desire, and a coin like the 1987 D 1-cent becomes a legend not only for what it is but for what it represents, the intersection of chance, history, and human fascination with the extraordinary, and the possibilities associated with owning such a coin are numerous and compelling, as it could serve as a centerpiece in a rare coin collection, an investment vehicle with potentially enormous returns, a teaching tool to illustrate minting processes and errors, or simply as a conversation-starting artifact that represents one of the most remarkable examples of accidental perfection in the world of coins. Collectors often marvel at the serendipity involved in discovering such coins, knowing that only a tiny fraction of minted coins carry such dramatic errors. And even among those, the 1987 D penny stands out due to the severity and multiplicity of its mistakes, from double dies to off-center strikes and planchet imperfections, which together make it one of the most sought-after pennies in existence, and this fascination is reinforced by the coin's historical context, as coins from the 1980s are generally abundant, making an error coin from 1987 even more extraordinary in contrast to the millions of ordinary pennies produced that year, highlighting How errors can elevate a common coin to an object of legend, and beyond the physical and market considerations, there is also the psychological allure of owning something unique, a tangible artifact of chance that can never be perfectly replicated, which adds an emotional and intellectual layer to its monetary value. And when we imagine holding the 1987 1-cent penny, tracing the doubled letters, feeling the raised cud, noticing the off-center strike and subtle planchet imperfections, we begin to understand why collectors are willing to pay sums that far exceed any rational connection to its original monetary worth, because in numismatics, as in many areas of collecting, the story, rarity, and uniqueness are what drive passion and price, and the 1987 penny encapsulates all of these elements, making it not just a coin but a symbol of the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary, a reminder that mistakes can create opportunities, that errors can produce beauty and value, and that the intersection of chance and human activity can result in objects that capture imagination and wealth alike. Moreover, considering potential scenarios for this penny, it might appear at auction, sparking bidding wars among top collectors, investors, and museums, or it might remain in a private collection, quietly increasing in value as its legend grows. And each potential outcome only reinforces the fascination surrounding it, creating a dynamic where the coin's worth is as much about narrative and desire as it is about its physical characteristics, and in addition, the 1987 1-cent coin demonstrates the broader principle that collectibles derive value from the rare, the unusual, and the imperfect, reminding us that ordinary objects can become extraordinary through the lens of human perception, and that mistakes, once thought undesirable, can transform into treasured anomalies worth millions. And as we delve deeper into the technical origins of the coin's errors, we see that the doubled die results from misalignment during the die creation process, where the hub and working dies fail to match perfectly, producing a duplication of elements, while the cud error emerges when a piece of the die breaks, leaving an irregular raised area on the coin, and off-center strikes occur when the planchet is improperly fed into the press, leading to an uneven impression, and planchet flaws arise from metal inconsistencies, cracks, or impurities, all of which combine in the 1987 penny to create a coin that is simultaneously an educational artifact, a historical record, and a highly desirable collectible, each feature adding a layer of value, each mistake amplifying the coin's appeal, and each imperfection telling a story about the minting process and the chance events that make collecting so fascinating. Ultimately, the 1987 1-cent coin is more than the sum of its errors. It is a symbol of the remarkable ways in which human error, mechanical quirks, and rarity intersect to create something treasured and valuable. A coin that challenges conventional notions of worth, demonstrates the allure of the unusual, and inspires collectors, investors, and curious minds to seek out the extraordinary within the ordinary, proving that even a single penny, struck with mistakes and imperfections, can achieve legendary status and command prices in the millions, embodying the thrill of discovery, the excitement of rarity, and the endless fascination with errors that define the captivating world of coin collecting, a world where the 1987 1-cent penny stands as a shining example of how mistakes and anomalies can transform the everyday into the extraordinary. Last 2019 1 cent, today for a fascinating exploration into one of the most intriguing stories in the world of coins, a realm where ordinary currency, something we handle every day and often overlook, can suddenly transform into an extraordinary treasure worth millions. And today we are delving into the remarkable case of the 2019 1-cent coin, a seemingly humble penny whose face value is just 1 cent yet has achieved a staggering valuation of $14 million due to its unique combination of errors, mistakes, and anomalies, a coin that has captivated collectors, investors, and enthusiasts alike. And as we explore the story of this extraordinary penny, I invite you to imagine the remarkable journey from a routine minting process to a coin that commands such an incredible price, a journey defined by rarity, chance, and human fascination with imperfection. And to truly understand why this 2019 penny is so valuable, we must first examine the specific errors that distinguish it, beginning with the double die phenomenon, one of the most sought-after types of minting mistakes, which occurs during the hubbing process when the master die imprints the design onto the working die more than once with a slight misalignment, resulting in a ghosted or shadowed appearance of letters, numerals, or design elements. And on the 2019 penny, The doubling is particularly noticeable around the date, the D mint mark, and portions of Lincoln's profile, creating a visually striking anomaly that immediately sets it apart from ordinary pennies and signals to collectors that this coin is far from typical. But the double die is only the beginning, because this coin also exhibits off-center strikes, which occur when the planchet is not properly aligned in the coin press, leading to an incomplete or misaligned design, and in extreme cases, like this 2019 penny, the off-center strike can displace Lincoln's profile, the lettering, and portions of the rim, producing a dramatic and highly collectible effect, further enhancing the coin's value and rarity. In addition to these errors, the 2019 penny is known to have planchet flaws, subtle imperfections in the metal blank used for striking the coin, which can include laminations, cracks, inclusions of foreign materials, or irregularities in metal composition, all of which contribute to a surface texture that is unusual and highly prized by collectors, and when combined with other anomalies such as die cracks, which occur when the die used to strike the coin develops stress fractures, or cuds, which are irregular raised areas formed when a portion of the die breaks. These imperfections compound the uniqueness of the coin, transforming it from a simple piece of change into an object of incredible historical, technical, and financial significance. What makes the 2019 penny even more remarkable is the rarity with which such errors occur, as only a very small number of coins from that year exhibit multiple significant mistakes, and in the world of numismatics, rarity is the primary driver of value, often far exceeding the coin's original face value, as collectors understand that a unique specimen represents a moment in history, a convergence of mechanical imperfection and chance that can never be replicated, and this principle is fully embodied in the 2019 1-cent coin, which combines the ghostly double die, the extreme off-center strike, planchet flaws, and die anomalies to create a coin that is nearly impossible to find, making it not only a technical marvel but also a coveted treasure for collectors and investors. And the story of how such coins achieve astronomical valuations also involves market dynamics, psychology, and the narrative surrounding them, as the allure of rarity, the excitement of discovery, and the potential for financial gain converge to produce demand that can drive prices into the millions, making the 2019 penny a legend not just for its physical characteristics but also for the perception of value that surrounds it. The technical origins of these errors are fascinating in themselves, illustrating how human oversight, mechanical variation, and material imperfections can intersect in extraordinary ways, as the double die results from misalignment during the hubbing process. Off-center strikes occur when the planchet is fed incorrectly or misaligned in the press. Planchet flaws arise from inconsistencies in the metal blanks, and die cracks or cuts develop when dies experience stress, wear, or breakage, and when all these factors converge in a single coin, the result is a specimen that is not only rare but visually compelling and historically significant. And beyond the physical and technical aspects, the coin's value is amplified by the speculative nature of the market, where collectors and investors understand that owning such a unique coin is not just about the metal itself but about acquiring a piece of history, a tangible object of rarity, and a symbol of the unpredictable intersections of chance and craftsmanship. And as we imagine the possibilities for this coin, they are extensive. It could serve as the centerpiece of a rare coin collection, a major investment vehicle with the potential for continued appreciation, an educational artifact demonstrating the minting process and the nature of errors, or simply a conversation-starting piece that embodies the thrill and unpredictability of coin collecting. The psychological allure of owning a coin of this magnitude cannot be overstated, as collectors are drawn not only to the potential financial gain but also to the intellectual and emotional satisfaction of possessing a truly extraordinary specimen, one that represents a near-impossible combination of rarity, error severity, and historical context. The 2019 penny also demonstrates a broader principle in the world of collectibles, which is that mistakes and imperfections often elevate an object's value rather than diminishing it, turning what might normally be considered a flaw into a highly coveted feature, and the 2019 penny exemplifies this perfectly, as its dramatic errors transform it from a mundane circulation coin into a legendary item whose existence sparks awe and fascination. Moreover, considering the historical context, the 2019 penny emerges from a period of modern coin production where high volumes would normally reduce the likelihood of noticeable errors reaching collectors. Yet this coin slipped through the rigorous quality control process, illustrating how rare and significant its anomalies truly are. The interplay of mechanical imperfection, human oversight, and sheer chance culminates in a coin that is both a technical marvel and a collector's dream, and its value is further amplified by the dynamics of the coin market, where scarcity, condition, and narrative converge to produce prices far beyond what the coin's original face value could suggest. And the possibilities for this coin extend beyond its monetary worth, as it is a tangible teaching tool for understanding coin production, a historical artifact documenting a rare moment of error in modern minting, and a symbol of how imperfection can create opportunity and value. The 2019 penny also illustrates human perception and the assignment of value, showing how uniqueness, rarity, and narrative can transform ordinary objects into coveted treasures. And as we reflect on the coin, tracing the ghosted doubled images, feeling the uneven surfaces from die cracks and cuds, observing the dramatic displacement from the off-center strike, and noting the subtle irregularities in the planchet, we begin to understand why it captivates collectors and commands a valuation of $14 million, a figure that might seem impossible yet is grounded in the convergence of rarity, error severity, collector demand, and historical significance. The 2019 1-cent coin therefore exemplifies the phenomenon in numismatics where ordinary coins become extraordinary through a combination of chance, error, and human fascination, turning what was intended as a common penny into an object of immense monetary, historical, and psychological value. And the coin's significance is not merely financial, it represents a tangible intersection of chance, craft, and collector desire. A coin that transforms mistakes into legend, imperfections into treasure, and a simple penny into a multi-million-dollar marvel. And as we consider all of these factors, the double die, off-center strike, planchet flaws, die cracks, cuds, rarity, historical context, collector psychology, and market dynamics, it becomes clear that the 2019 penny is far more than a piece of metal. It is a story, a phenomenon, and a testament to the extraordinary possibilities hidden within the ordinary, proving that in the world of coins, errors are not simply defects to be corrected but potential gateways to extraordinary value. And the 2019 1-cent coin embodies this principle in its most dramatic form, captivating collectors, investors, and enthusiasts worldwide, demonstrating that even the most mundane object can ascend to legendary status when chance, imperfection, and rarity converge. And as we imagine holding this penny, examining every anomaly, appreciating its history, and contemplating its rarity, we recognize that it is not only a coin of exceptional financial value but also a symbol of the unpredictable beauty and opportunity that can emerge from mistakes, a coin that proves that human fascination with rarity and imperfection can elevate a simple piece of currency into an object of awe.